Well, it's 6 o'clock, so maybe a few more people joining us along the way, but let's go ahead and get started in the interest of more or less following the schedule. Before we get started, I'd like to mention a few things. The nomination process for the next chair is open until the end of the week, September 30th, and then the actual election will take place during the month of October. We'll have a separate kind of administrative meeting towards the end of the year and announce the incoming person. Also, please pay your dues. We're running a bit behind on dues collection. I'm not sure exactly why, but the dues window is open for now. So please check in at journalassistantpathology.com and go to the membership tab and go ahead and renew, or if you're not a member, go ahead and join up. We'd be happy to have you as new members. So let's get started with the program. Our first speaker is Georgios Vitalakis, who completed his undergraduate studies in 1998 at the Agricultural University of Athens with a concentration in plant protection. He received his PhD in plant pathology from University of California, Riverside in 2004 under the direction of David Gumpf and Joe Semenchik. Georgios became the director of the Citrus Column Protection Program in the summer of 2005 and currently holds that position as well as being an endowed presidential researcher for sustainable citrus column protection. His keynote address this morning is entitled Snapshot, Phantom Agents and Emerging Pathogens. So Georgios, go ahead. You can share your screen and get started.
Good morning or good evening, everyone, wherever you are in the world. Yeah, this is a presentation I put together for the purpose of this meeting to let you know about the two ends of the spectrum, what we came up to call phantom agents and diseases that maybe we should not use them in the literature anymore. To the other end, just a few examples of citrus pathogens that they have been emerging in the literature and so on. Let's see how we will advance slides. Boy, time flies. 2 years ago, Yannis Giannetakis from the University of Arkansas sent an email to various scientists working with different commodities, including citrus. And in his email was mentioning this term, phantom viruses, that they're lingering, phantom viruses or phantom agents, phantom diseases, disorders that they have been lingering in the literature. And particularly the concern with most of the crops was the regulatory issues that these names of diseases being in the literature were causing, especially in the cases where there was no type isolate, there was no positive control for people to develop diagnostics and advance plant movement, for example, in this specific example with the regulators. So the bigger group came up with the idea what a core group of scientists sit down, work on these issues, create a list of those phantom disorders or diseases, have the scientific community review that list, give feedback. Do we have a positive control for this? Does the disease appears again, and so on? And put together a white paper, have a reference point so we can move forward with the literature and the regulations. In the case of citrus, the phantom agent team was Sveta Vinken, her student that did a lot of the, composing the documents and so on, Juliana and myself. And I cannot thank enough this team for all the hard work for a long, long time now. And in the case of citrus, we sort of redefined or adjusted the fandom definition from the original email from Yanis. Because we are blessed with a very solid foundational work for decades now from our colleagues and past generations of IOCV, and correct me if I'm wrong in the chat or when we're going to have a discussion on this, there is not many cases that the regulator is asking a citrus program to test for a disease and we don't have a way to test for a disease. Either we have a biological index pipeline or we have a molecular or other tests with all appropriate controls. However, we did have, or we do have in our literature, a lot of virus-like diseases or graft-transmissible diseases that they made their appearance in the literature once and then they never saw it again. So for us, for our team, we classified those disorders as potential fandoms. And we further refined our idea, adding a couple of more layers. We said, okay, it appears one or twice in the literature, but then there is no continuing work. And there is no defined pathogen associated with such disorder. And also the virus or the disease, there is no a type isolate somewhere in a greenhouse, or the disease never appeared again, most likely because of we all started using around the world clean propagated materials, so pathogen tested propagated materials. So our goal was to make sure we remove such verified pathogen fandom disorders from the literature, so our bibliography will be clean and avoid future problems with policy and regulators. So we roll up our sleeves